And it's Brad with College SportsCast. Welcome to our 100th on air episode. We are presented by the Fanboys.
Yes.
Yeah, he's scared.
Wait till he goes fuzzy. Wait till he gets fuzzy.
He's fuzzy. He's not fuzzy just yet.
No, he is fuzzy. Look at his face.
There it goes.
There it goes. Oh,
3, 2, 1.
He's
I'm
back.
I'm here.
We did the countdown this time. It was awesome.
And did it work?
It was right on time. We were good. Right as you hit 1, you could see you could see the
blur.
No.
Yeah.
We went.
You
3,
go
2, 1,
blur.
starting.
Yeah, I go blur.
You start the countdown at when you go blur.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. I had my 2 crazies on with me tonight. I got John Roberts and Jason Harrison. And this is our 100th on-air episode. So we started just as a podcast on like Apple, Spotify, and radio, iHeartRadio, stuff like that. So all the way back to the beginning when we started, I think it was either late August or September 1st or 2nd. This is our 100th episode through college football, college basketball season. And now I'd say we're a little bit over halfway through college baseball season. Yeah, there you go. There
it's
you go.
Upside down, but I gotta do it backwards.
Yeah.
001.
Yeah, one show. We're only on our first one.
We're at the 001.
Yeah, that's right. Soon we'll be James Bond.
Right?
Yeah.
We are 001.
001. Licensed to thrill.
Yeah.
All right, so we have John Hammonds on with us in the chat. What's up, Hammonds?
Hammonds.
Yeah, he's on with us in the chat. There he is. I got him up on the screen now. So I just want to say, what's up, Hammonds? So on with us. We'll kind of get to talking about some of the stuff with him and stuff a little later on in the show, probably. I do want to say welcome to College SportsCast with everybody. I'm announcing now that we are sponsored by Bluegrass Brads, which is where I'm at and which is why I always have snow cones and stuff behind me, actually. Okay. So if anybody who has ever been on with us is like, man, why does he have snow cones in the background? That's because I run my own business. It's called Bluegrass Brads. And we're now sponsoring not just College SportsCast, but we're now sponsoring the Fanboys, Greenville Sports Media as well. So you can find us on the sponsor page at thefanboys.com, greenvillesportsmedia.com, and that kind of stuff as well. So we're in Scottsville, Kentucky, and I just want to put that out there and put that on the screen that we're being sponsored by Bluegrass Brads. That's right. I thought I'd get it out there. And on top of that, I figure everybody's always wondered why I have snow cones on the wall behind me as well.
Nope, just always thought you liked to freeze. Frozen bread.
I do. Hey, I am known as the ice guy. I really am. This is a true story.
Just let it go. It's never going to get old.
So we have Drew England on with us. What's up, Drew?
Is Jay here,
Drew
or is Jay
and John
watching the Braves game?
No, Jay is at a Greenville.
He's at the dash. He's at the dash. That's right.
Minor league. He's at a
Dash.
Greenville minor league baseball game.
Yeah. Greenville Dash. Yes, I just said it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what their name
They're
was.
the
Okay.
single A or
It's either single or double.
I don't know if it's double, but I think it's single A team for the Boston Red Sox. I know it's Boston. I know that's the team because they
it's one of the things that he's covering and sponsoring.
Yeah.
And all that.
Every one of the Boston minor league team stadiums has a green monster, and Greenville's got one.
Okay.
I should have been wearing my Greenville Dash shirt. I've got one. I've actually got a T-shirt from Greenville Dash. So
Okay.
I've got about 3 or 4 different minor league shirts. So I've got a Rocket City Trash Pandas shirt, which they're actually in town to play the Birmingham Barons, and sometime in the next 6 days I will go and catch a game over there. Because I believe Sonny DeShera plays for the Trash Pandas. Also, Ben Joyce, who former Tennessee pitcher, is a pitcher for them. And then I've got the Storm Chasers. I'm trying to remember where they're from. I think it's Omaha Storm Chasers. And we got Birmingham Barons. We've got.
I've seen the Barons play.
There's one more. I've got one more. I think it's the Redbirds.
Yeah,
the Memphis
it used to be Louisville Redbirds a long time ago, but that's
but they're the Louisville Bats now.
Yeah.
Which I have seen a game in the Louisville Bats stadium.
I've seen some in the old Redbird Stadium, but
because when Kentucky was rebuilding their baseball stadium, they played. No. Who did we play? No, we played. It wasn't Louisville. It was Lexington. Sorry, we played in Lexington's
Thoroughbreds.
Yeah,
didn't they? Lexington Thoroughbreds.
I don't remember what it was, but we played in Lexington's stadium because when Kentucky was rebuilding their stadium.
I don't know if they're still around or not, but Lexington used to have one called the Thoroughbreds.
Yeah. So we played our series because I think they were playing all their home games in the minor league stadium.
Yeah.
And so we ended up playing over there, and that was pretty awesome.
Well, while we have Hammonds on with us, I'm going to announce, I got it on the bottom of the screen, we are going to be covering the Prep Red Zone Kentucky in Louisville this weekend. It is a huge football recruiting camp that's set up basically kind of like an NFL combine where they're going to be doing 40-yard dashes and one-on-one drills and, throwing and the L-line drills and the jumping and measurements and all that kind of stuff. And it's for the classes of 2023 through 2026. And Hammonds is going to go with me and help kind of film and catch a lot of this stuff, probably do a few interviews or several interviews with these kids and stuff. There's going to be up to 100 different teams and colleges there. that's watching. It's a huge event with Prep Red Zone, and we're pretty excited about being invited as a media member to cover this event. Hopefully, everything goes well, and we are also going to cover the one next month in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Man, that's a big deal, man. Congratulations to you guys, and hope you guys go out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. A little nerve-wracking, first time going to something like this, but it's going to be fun. I'm gonna try my best to have some fun with it and meet a bunch of these kids that are working hard and trying to get exposure and get known and pick up some scholarships.
Man, that ain't no exactly. I wish I had these back in the day. We didn't have as many 7-on-7 deals and camps that were going on, and I can only imagine, especially in this area in Little Rock, Arkansas, if kids had these opportunities that were, afforded in the year 2013 and above.
There's actually one in Little Rock, Arkansas, April the 30th, a Prep Red Zone event.
Okay. But
it's in Little Rock.
Back in the days, in the early 90s, in the early 2000s, if this was afforded to those guys, maybe a lot. We have a lot more professional athletes in football around here. It just wasn't the thing to do. So these camps, man, are so important for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've already been being hit up on Twitter and stuff with recruits, with recruits and stuff, just saying, hey, give us a shout out, come check us out, things like that. So it's pretty cool. These kids are eager, they're working hard, and I like to see that. I've been a coach and stuff, so kind of be on this side of it and kind of help them get known and get their tapes or whatever out there. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
So I'll start with that. Hammonds was on. I thought maybe he might be on and say something, but all right. So we'll go to sports news that's actually going on. We took the weekend off for Easter and stuff. We haven't been on since last Thursday. And last Thursday, we actually did an NFL mock draft show. So we really didn't do any updates since last Tuesday when Jason was on. So you guys, we'll start with, some college basketball news. Flipkowski from Duke is returning. But
that's a trickle-down effect.
But with him returning, one of their star recruits, power forward, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name because it's something weird. It's MG something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can. I'm not good with pronouncing stuff, so maybe you guys can help me with his last name. But he's a top 10 recruit. Maybe even top 5, but I know he's top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah, and he's backing out of his commitment and looking elsewhere. But they are going to get a sophomore Flipkowski, so for Duke.
Yeah, hey, that's hey, yeah, it's Mackenzie. I'm not going to even pronounce it either. MG.
Yeah, it's a weird last name.
I'm gonna say Mahako or something like that. I mean, hey, he's requesting that he be released from this national letter of intent. Kind of hard, man. When guys you think who will move on and you have another recruit coming in, these top 10 recruits, they want to play. They want to play. And as you can see, it was 3. I think it was 3. Yeah, it was 3 McDonald All-Americans. They end up transferring, and Filipowski. These kids want to play now. With the transfer portal the way it is, hey, you got to kind of respect it.
Yep, absolutely. The Big Ten is expected to hire Tony Pettit as their new commissioner. He's a former MLB and television executive, is what I'm reading here. This is just coming out not too long ago. He's a former COO of Major League Baseball.
Ah,
He succeeded Commissioner Rob Manfred in the role in 2015. But he is expected to be hired as the new Big Ten commissioner. Louisville transfer Withers is announced that he's going to North Carolina. Let's see. The ACC commissioner is expected to get a contract extension. Duke's guard Roach has entered the draft, but he says he's going to retain his eligibility just in case.
Louisville transfer Withers is headed to North Carolina.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Then, like I said, the Morris kid out of Texas is transferring. He's the other McDonald American.
the 7-footer Ware from Oregon is transferring to Indiana. Khalil Ware.
Yeah, Khalil Ware out of North Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, he's transferring to Indiana.
Wish he would have gave my guys at Ole Miss a chance, but I know that was a far-fetched deal. Indiana moved pretty quickly on that. So yeah, he was number 2
transfer.
He was number 2 transfer.
So, right. Yeah. So that's a big deal for Indiana. Getting him to come in for next year. So those are some of the college basketball news, and that's all like recently in the last 24 hours. Most of that is
Denver Jones to Auburn.
Yes. Yeah, I remember seeing that as well.
Hey, watch this. Wes Flanagan leaves Auburn
to Ole Miss.
To come to Ole Miss.
Correct.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Yes,
he did. So now Auburn should go after KT Harrell at FAU. Bring him home.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's what everybody was saying that as soon as the news broke for Wes. Hey, there's KT Harrell. Go get him.
Hey, that should be a no-brainer.
Should be.
Actually, Drew is on here and he's making fun of me because I would pronounce his name. He said, "Can I pronounce his name wrong?" And yeah, I can pronounce his name wrong.
I can easily pronounce anybody's name wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Blue Devil fan, okay?
Is he?
Yeah.
He's not part of that big Blue Nation.
No, not that Blue Nation. Not that one. Yeah, I heard that today, Drew, talking about Cliff Kingsbury.
Is he really headed there?
Is that a real thing?
Kingsbury, that's what I had. I mean, I saw it on something where it said that it's true. I mean, I don't know that he was going there to help with the quarterbacks is what, not as offensive coordinator or nothing but I mean, Riley actually calls all the plays, so Lincoln Riley does. So,
well, I think he will relinquish those play calls. A senior analyst, okay. I can go with that. I can go with that.
All right, that is
senior analyst. Yeah, I don't know. What I saw said to help with the quarterbacks is what I saw.
Well, I mean that's probably the main job will be.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't know how much help his quarterback needs, but
Hey, Hey, especially when you got the top returning quarterback in the country.
I mean, he just won the Heisman, right?
Yeah, yeah. You got the top one in the country, so you have a pretty good one. You have a pretty good one coming back.
Yeah, Drew. I don't think Lincoln. He won't stop calling plays. I agree with that as well. That's why I thought it was kind of an odd situation for Kingsbury to go into. To be honest, coming from an NFL head coach to helping with the quarterbacks. USC, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of an odd thing to do for me. But, I mean, they're both air raid guys, Texas Tech.
Very air raid guys. I like that.
Yeah. They're very air raid guys in Texas Tech and all that, so they have that.
Yep.
I must have been watching this NBA game. Yeah. The Hawks were up almost 25 at the half, and I guess OG Udonis Haslem said something to the effect that, and I'm paraphrasing, we're not playing very good, guys. And now it's a 5-point game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get to this transfer portal. The college basketball world has been turned upside down.
Yeah.
There are approximately 4,700 Division I college basketball players. There's 363 teams, and there's 13 scholarships on each team you can give out.
How many players you said? Because I'm a numbers guy. I'm just going to crunch these numbers as you're talking. You said 4,700 basketball.
4,700. Approximately 4,700.
Approximately.
That's an approximate number.
That's
all right.
Okay.
But there's approximately 4,700 Division I college basketball players.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure we are getting close to 2,000 of those in the portal.
Let me see if I can give you a more exact.
Well, how many Division I schools are there, or how many schools are there? You saying roughly about?
There's 363. There was this past year. There was 363, and there's 13 scholarships available in Division I basketball.
So by number wise, that's 4,719 guys. You said about 4,700, give or take. Couple walk on each. Yeah, so give or take. But then you have over 2,000. What was the number again? You have over 2,000
in Division. Listen, Division I and Division II. About a week ago, it was over 2,000 with Division I and Division II. And not including Division III and all that. That's just Division I and Division II. And that could go. I mean, I'm just saying that college basketball world has been turned upside down. If you ask me, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it, the college basketball world has become a glorified AAU circuit. That's what it is.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that in a sense.
That's what it is. I mean, we got guys that are leaving schools not because they want to, because their handlers are telling them that they can get more money somewhere else.
Well, when you make things legal, kind of like
you also, yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but
finish your point so I can add.
But you also have guys that, I mean, I heard last night actually, that Tiger Campbell from UCLA has been approached by another school who is officially not in the transfer portal and has been offered buku of money to come to this other school on an NIL deal and that Tiger Campbell is seriously considering it.
Hey, did you not hear Angel Reese? And she said she is not in a hurry to get to the WNBA. And she said, why? Because she knows she's making, if not just as much money with her deals as the WNBA players.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so right now, the goal is not, remember, watch what I say. The goal is not to even get to the NBA anymore. The goal is to get to a Power 5 school that can give me some money now. Just like the overtime elites when they were paying the top high school juniors and
It's
seniors.
certified AAU ball. That's what college
It's
basketball is.
Yeah, and it's hurting, and it's sad to say that the average high school kid is being hurt with a chance to get a scholarship because and I say if you're not a stick of dynamite, if you're not a 6'3", 6'4" guard, if you're not a 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" athlete, or a 6'10", 7-footer project, chances are coaches are going to overlook you. And you're going to have to either go to a post grad, a prep school, or a junior college.
There has to be some kind of tampering stuff and rules in this mess, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you are not supposed to be contacting players when they're not in the portal.
Well, I mean, like the old
Correct.
saying, like the old saying goes, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that there is a lot of stuff going on in this college basketball world that, I mean, I don't know. I myself, I don't like it. There needs to be a ton of regulations put in place, if you ask me. I think there needs to be rules. There supposedly is a rule of you can only transfer one time, okay, before you're a grad senior, okay, before you graduate.
Unless
There supposedly is a rule. Okay.
Unless your coach gets fired.
Wait a second.
Or they transferred.
Yeah.
No, wait a second.
Unless the coach
supposedly is a rule that you can only transfer once. Are a few stipulations you can apply for, okay? But there supposedly is a rule that you can only transfer once. I'm going to tell you, Jamal
you're going to transfer twice.
Baker, all right, he came to Kentucky in 2017, okay? He just put his name back into the transfer portal. And technically, he's already been on teams for 5 years. He started at Kentucky, transferred to Arizona, was at Arizona 2 years, transferred to Fresno State, was at Fresno State for 2 years, and now has put his name in the transfer portal a third time, trying to apply for a medical year for a 6th year of play.
He'll probably get it. He will probably get it.
I mean, come on. Jason, you played college basketball.
Okay.
Would you? It's not fair. Like you didn't. It's not fair to the guys.
It sounds like you're getting all worked up.
I don't like it at all. And I love college basketball. It's my favorite sport.
You're getting
let me break it down. Let me break it down for you, Brad.
Break it down.
Thank you. And this is to 100. This is to 100.
Dude.
For so long, the onus has been the NCAA is making billions of dollars off these kids, and these kids are putting their bodies on the line, their time, and they're not getting anything in return. You know what they said? They said, well, hey, you get a free education.
When
Right?
you were a freshman, Jason, or a sophomore.
Hold on. Let me finish. So it's going to lead up to everything. And so when they lost that Ed O'Bannon case, and the NCAA had to, undo their tight grip that they had, because you got to understand, coaches are getting so much money from contracts, radio shows, and alumni that it was supposedly illegal for any athlete to benefit. Now, you and me know that it still has been going on. It still was going on regardless, right? And so now that it is legal, now we don't have what they have in the NBA. We don't have a cap. We don't have a collective bargaining agreement. And so yes, this is all new. And coaches like Mike Krzyzewski and Coach Jay Wright probably seen this coming
and got the hell out.
And actually stayed left. Now I tell you,
they got the hell out.
How many people? And I seen it's gonna be a great interview. A Kentucky guy who I like, DeMarcus Cousins, him and Kevin Garnett interview. It's gonna have. I seen the clip. He said, and he quoted, man, when I was in Kentucky, I loved it.
He wanted to come back. Yeah.
He wanted to come back a whole nother year. He asked John Wall. John Wall was like, hey, I'm going to the league. And Coach Cal had that conversation with him. If you stay, you're helping my family. If you're trying to take care of your family, you need to leave. So how many individuals are going to be able to have that conversation? The 1%.
Not one time have I said anything about players not making money.
No, this is what I'm saying. So if you're not going to be in that 1% or that 2% of guys be able to move on to play professionally, and you're getting money in college, what did Drew Timmy say? He is making more money at Gonzaga for staying than going to the two-way. And so now the goal is to maximize as many years.
Supposedly she weighed $4 million this year.
This basically is going to kill the G
League.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because now,
and
I had to say,
because there's all those players that were.
But yeah, y'all ain't even talking about my point.
No,
my point was.
I'm telling you the point.
Jason, listen for a minute. Listen for a minute. What I was saying to you was, when you was a college player, let's say you were getting recruited or you were a freshman, okay? Mm-hmm. When you were coming up as a college player and you were trying to pick a school or your first year in the school, it wouldn't have been fair to you to have a kid or not one kid, a bunch of kids. I mean, these teams have 4 or 5 of them on there now who have been in college basketball for 5, 6, 7 years. And it's just not fair to the other kids.
It's going to go away.
That's what I'm screaming about.
Okay, but you're going to scream for like 3 more minutes. You're going to scream for like 2 years, and then
that's ridiculous.
But what is fair? You know that. What is fair?
What is fair?
Life ain't fair. You know, you gonna.
I don't like it.
But I understand what you don't like.
If they let Baker transfer and play again, I'm just like, that's ridiculous.
Don't we have some guys?
Honestly,
how long did the Georgia starting quarterback play football? How many years did he play?
He was 25 or so when he left.
I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
But then again, let's go back. Brandon Cox was 25 his senior year. Okay, he was 25 his senior year. So we're talking about something that happened 15 years ago. Okay, in 2007. Brandon Cox was 25 years old, playing for Auburn. He did not go and play minor league baseball. He was not any one of these minor league baseball players that were playing at 25 in college. He gray-shirted, red-shirted, and injured.
Mm-hmm. Then had his 4 years.
and started for 4 years.
Do you remember? Do you remember Brad when? And you probably could attest to this too. Back in the day when BYU and Utah players had to go serve their Mormon missions.
Yeah, for
Then
2
they were
years.
always
Yeah.
yeah.
And so when they came back, they were a lot older and
back
seasoned.
So
then
BYU
that wasn't the norm. I mean,
BYU's freshmen were
that was
20
few and far
21 years old.
between.
20 and 21.
Nowadays, you got 5 or 6 guys on every team that's like that.
Okay,
But
so
that's
again,
what we're saying.
we're saying that it's not new. We're
No,
just
it's not
saying
new.
it's different in
What
how they got there.
it's
And that
it's
this
not
way,
100% new. No,
and that this way, the way that they're getting there right now is going to go away.
Lord
in
have
like
mercy.
2
It's been
years.
around for way
But
too
you've
long.
been sitting here screaming and hollering about it.
It's
but
been
it is
way
going
too
to
long.
Go away. Okay. Well, it will go away.
But Brad, it's like I say, the G League, right? And the overtime elite teams. We forget there are studs who, and watch this. I had a guy. His name is Bryson Warren. Remarkable young man, remarkable family, know his dad and everything. Great people. He chose to go to the overtime elite as a sophomore, giving up his 11th grade and 12th grade eligibility, right? So he ended up getting paid.
Yeah.
But then the NCAA okayed it for you to pay players in college. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that are systematically wrong right now because it's 2 guys who are going to be a top 10 pick who play overtime elite right now. And there's about 4 or 5 teams playing. And so you have guys, and what we said, and I agree, you have a glorified AAU teams playing. Then you have G League guys playing. And now you got the college guys looking like, you know what? The goal is not to make it to the NBA now. The goal is to maximize my college dollars in my college years. And now, Brad, me personally,
it really is.
Me personally, I would have loved this. Do you know how? Listen, if it was a collective end when I was playing, I guarantee I would not have been thinking about the NBA because I would have felt as a college kid, if I was getting, say, I'm gonna throw out a number, say it's a $300,000 what I'm getting, right? And I'm getting that within 4 months. That's almost $80,000 before taxes that I'm getting a month. Meaning that if I'm my dad, he's gonna say, you know what, son, here goes 5. Let's put the rest of this up so that when you come out of college, you're okay. I get that part, but the part I think that you're saying is, well, some of you guys need to just leave and let other kids get a chance to come. But now it's the same way.
Do you know who that's on? You know who that's on?
Who's that on?
It's on the coaches. Just cut them.
Now watch this.
So if you want to do,
how many times, Brad? And this is for all sports. How many times do we say, you know, that coach should have been gone? He should have been retired. He should have let somebody else come in. Or he should have promoted his top assistant. And let him get a job.
Technically, you know Drew, you was talking about Drew Timme. Technically, Drew Timme could come back for his COVID year.
You see what I'm saying? So
technically,
would you be mad at him? No, because guess what? He's going to monetize and be able to set himself up for life after basketball or life after Gonzaga.
Well, to be honest with you, Drew Timme probably would never, make bank in the NBA. Probably. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but probably.
Right. You're exactly right. So, but Drew Timme is part of the 1-2 percentile that we're talking about. And I even go as far as say the 3 percentile because all the guys who are making money in college, it's not destined for them to make money in the NBA like that. You know?
And,
so,
and you've got the donors in college who are all about who you are and your marketability within the school that you may not be able to have as a professional. You may not be as marketable as a professional, but you can be more as a student because somebody is more overzealous to pay you while you're a student at their school versus getting out into the marketplace where now you're a small fish in a big pond. Where
Hello.
before you were a big fish in a small or a. I mean,
Exactly.
it's still a big pond, but you're in when you're talking about your pond being the size, being the school,
Mhm.
and you being, a named player on a, at a basketball program at your school, then your marketability at that point in time is so much bigger, and you have um, you, you control a lot more, or at least you have the ability to gain more at that level. But if you go up, Nike may not pay you what, you know Joe Schmo, who has who's, great great grandfather discovered oil in Texas, wanted to pay you.
Now watch this, Brad. And watch it's people who are giving these kids 2, 3, 4, 5, even up to $10,000 just for ad spots, right?
Yeah.
Like how can you want to live? It's the average salary.
Listen,
coming out of college.
the
depending on what it is.
NIL and players getting played is not my issue. I have an
But
issue.
that's part of it.
But that's part of it.
But
That's
it's
No, it's
part of
part
not.
of the
It's
reason.
not my
It
issue.
is. It
My
is. It's the reason
issue
why
with
they're staying.
NIL is regulations and being tampered with. That's the
Okay.
first thing.
Yeah, but that's not what you were yelling about. You were
Yeah,
yelling
you-
about.
yeah,
You were
you- yeah,
yelling
you-
about. You were yelling about 30-year-olds playing
Yeah.
college basketball.
And then you was yelling about.
But we're telling you why. We're
somebody
telling you
being
why
tampered
they're
with.
there.
Somebody being tampered with. Brad, I got tampered with when I was at Ole Miss, my first year. They didn't know if I was unhappy or not. My best friend was at a college. The coach that was at that college knew that was one of my best friends. He asked him, "Hey, can you ask your guy?" Now, once again, it's not direct contact. It's contact with somebody who's affiliated with me and said, "Hey, was he happy? Do you think is he happy? Do he want to leave?" And my friend at the time was like, "I'm not going to call him to come down here because he's not going to be focused. Because if he leaves where he's at, he comes down here. Now he goes from being a small fish in a big pond. Now he's a big fish in a big pond. Now he has everything at his disposal, and he needs to stay focused. And so, whatever school contacted Tiger, I would have did the same thing. He didn't get contacted directly. He got contacted through.
Well, I mean,
Brad.
I don't. I have no idea if it was direct contact from the coach.
I'm telling you how it's working because guess what? If you leave any trace of evidence,
Yeah, like look, my best friend calls me on the cell phone, and we end up talking about other things.
Yeah,
but part of that conversation was, hey man, I talked to Coach so and so, and they're asking questions about you. They want to know if maybe you would be interested in coming here, know. But when they look at the phone records, it says, okay, this guy called me. Well, I can be like, well, I know that guy, and he has my phone, and I can have a conversation. So unless you are recording those conversations, in which where you actually have the script of what was said, you're not gonna be able to rule out.
It has to get out there enough that somebody supposedly knows about it and is reporting it.
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
I'll leave it at that.
But you still can't prove it.
So we're going to move on. We're going to do part of our 100th episode stuff. I've got more to talk about, but I am going to start right here talking about the Fresh Channel. We are on the Fresh Channel on Sunday evenings, and I've got a little commercial to play for them.
Are we fresh?
Hey, I am Hal Fresh here to tell you about the Real Fresh channel. That's right, youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel. We are a network aiming to bringing you various content each and every day, different types of podcasts, different type of content, anything from college sportcast and fresh takes for some sports. We also got You Want to Do What? We got the Wrestling Corner. We got live stream. Just go over to youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel and hit us up today. Thank you for checking it out. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Howie Fresh and boys, and we appreciate him letting us be featured on Sunday nights on his channel.
Is there?
All right. So part of our 100th episode special here, I've got a few topics here. So we're going to start out with past co-hosts and people that's been on our show, maybe have been with or whatever. What's some of your memories from John or Mason and a couple of other people that's been on the show with us? I know John's been on with them. Jason maybe not. Jason was on with John Hammonds.
Yes, I think so. Right?
Yeah, he was on that. I was on that thing. John.
Yeah.
I think who did we have? Because John was always. He seemed like he was always in his car. All the time.
There for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. His car. He was on the go more than me.
Yeah, he especially on we're doing stuff. Yeah, on the weekends and stuff. He was always in his car. Yeah.
Or if Kentucky was playing, then
yeah, he couldn't do the show.
We might not get video of him. Or
he couldn't do the show if Kentucky was playing, or
audio,
Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, or the Cowboys. If the Cowboys were
or
playing
Dallas Cowboys.
Sunday,
if Dallas was on, he was not going to be on with us.
If they were on the Sunday afternoon game, then we were.
Yeah. And Mason, my memories of Mason, to be quite honest with you, is he was always outside on his back porch or whatever.
We're talking about the 10 feet of snow that was going through.
Yeah, and there was always, it's in the wintertime and he's in Iowa, always a bunch of snow.
Yeah, and it was just a ton of snow. And he was sitting there just like, oh my God, there's 10 feet of snow or whatever. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's 80 degrees here, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that snow.
All right.
We might get a little Alabama snow.
Jason, I'll start with you on this one. What's your favorite moments being with us on College SportsCast?
I think some of my favorite moments. I can honestly name two. When we had Burns, when Burns came on, man, that was. And I can remember we was talking like, hey, he's only going to be on for about 20, 25 minutes. Hey, let's not overwhelm him with things. And then also, it almost turned into a whole complete. He was almost on for a whole hour. Like, I mean, it just flowed. And then the Auburn head baseball coach, he had so many technical difficulties. We had to call the SID. We had to get him on. He had to get on. He got on an hour late, and he came on, and he didn't want to get off. And so, I mean, those were some of my just a few of those. And of course, I think we had Ron Slay was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Like I said, I mean, every show every time we have someone on, it's always from the bracketology to the mock draft. Like, it's always interesting to see how organically things happen and how the show just flows. And the only mishaps is, you think about it, the only mishap is Brad freezing. That's the only.
We're gonna get to some bloopers. Y'all will get your chance. I got that on here.
But no, man, just thinking about those, man, those shows. I mean, just being part. I mean, it's been like I said, I had a hiatus for a minute, and you guys stuck with me, and man, you guys held it down, and man, look, and I can remember just getting followed by John one day, and I was like, hey, man, I want to get in this space. Yeah. And within a week or two, he was like, hey, man, what do you want to do?
So I can't remember exactly. Was it around maybe 1st of December or something when you joined us?
No, it was before then.
It was before.
It was before, like November, before November. Yeah,
it was before because it wasn't until we didn't go video until December, but he was a part of us until, before that.
Hey, trust me, I got all the apps. I got all the Podbeam apps. The
dude,
man, look.
You sure if Podbean stuff or not?
Yeah, I was on there. I got it on here. I was on that.
Yeah.
So man, look, it's been amazing to see the transformation of and how far.
Yeah, we've come a long ways actually. Yeah,
in such a short time. And when you said 100, I gotta be there. I gotta make sure. I even took a nap today. I took a nap today, and I'm not a napper. I took a nap.
Right.
Like, you know what? I'm going to watch the Lakers game, and I'm going to do the podcast.
Yeah. I appreciate you being on with us for the 100th here. So,
man, no doubt.
What about you, John Roberts? What's some of your favorite memories, favorite moments?
I mean, the two that he named were pretty memorable, mainly just because of the fact that Peter talked about, without us asking him if he wanted to come on, he was like, "Hey man, get me back on," and said, "Get me back on for the SEC tournament." And we said, "Okay." Like, yes, we will. Don't.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. He was talking about the SEC baseball tournament.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking SEC baseball at that time, and he said, "Man, just get me back on for the SEC. Right around the SEC baseball tournament time." And we went, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have you on again.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the whole Coach Butch Thompson one, that one was really cool just because, I had worked with him, 15 years ago. And
he was really knowledgeable. He was a great interview, too.
And like I said, this guy's going to he's going to be able to make you think about things that you probably weren't thinking about before. And he's going to do it, and he can do it very lightheartedly and he could do it in a funny way, or he can, really, really make you think. Because again, there were times when he had he got some of the baseball alums together and had said that, hey, I really want to think about all of this stuff outside of the box. And this is before NIL. So, look, the state of Alabama does not have a lottery. They do not have lottery. So there's no lottery here, which means there's not anything that's supporting the education like a lottery, or gambling, any sort of gambling thing that ends up going to get education. So in Georgia, you have the, what's the scholarship? Anyway, it's funded by the lottery, and so you could get all of your in-state, baseball players that just qualify for that, and they get fully, that they'll get a pretty good chunk of change, so that you can focus all of your 11.7 scholarships to out-of-state kids. You don't have to focus on the in-state ones because they're all going to get their education through the lottery money and through that scholarship. So that's something that most of these states that touch Alabama have, and we don't. So you have to think outside the box on how to do that, on how to get to how to be competitive when at very much a disadvantage, and it's not something that you can control. And so he's always been thinking about that. And if he goes into the state of Mississippi, he probably doesn't have to think about that. If Lamonis ever got fired, which he got real close in season, and it still may happen. And, Mississippi State may come calling.
Oh yeah.
The good news is that the coach that he coached with at Mississippi State is his current AD. So that's the thing that's kind of going with it with John Cohen. So
absolutely.
But that was really awesome. And then having fun with the Landrum one, and then of course, losing that episode, and then finding
Well,
it and celebrating it.
So
way that
the
we did.
college sportscast bloopers, since you're bringing up
Yeah.
the Landrum episode, okay? I was gonna.
Yeah.
I know y'all are gonna make fun of the whole freezing thing and everything with the college sportscast bloopers, but the two that really stand out to me are the Butch Thompson, Auburn baseball coach, interview, and how that took an hour, and all the stuff that we had to do to get him on. And then the Landon Roberts episode where it was lost, and I had to go through tech department and get it back like a week later and all of that. So those are the ones that stand out to me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were rough both at the time. But,
oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, look, we were still molding what we were doing. I mean, we were still really early on. I mean, hell, we're still early on right now, but we were nowhere near in our just kind of in the flow of things. Because I mean, when we did the Landrum one, I was in a parking lot
at the time. Landrum was
parking lot,
probably the biggest guest we'd had on.
Yes, yeah. At that time,
yeah.
it was the biggest one. I think we
had and then all of a sudden his audio was lost. And I was like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like crazy. I was freaking out.
Oh yeah. So, but I mean, those are some of the memories right there. And then, I mean, heck, we've had Drew England on, and that one was a cool one. We've had, who else have we had outside of we've had Heigl, we've had Mock Draft's protege,
right?
Yeah, I mean, so we've had some pretty decent ones, and
Marlar
with a few others. Yeah, Marlar was
pretty. That was a pretty fun episode.
The Marlar episode was really fun, and then also getting from the shutdown fullcast when we had Ryan
Nanny.
Yeah, Ryan Nanny from the shutdown fullcast.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. Actually, that episode went really long, like 2 hours or something, and it felt like 45 minutes.
Right. And I mean, we're just sitting there just cutting up the whole time because he's pretty funny. So I mean,
yeah, from the shutdown fullcast, Ryan Nanny, that episode was an absolute blast. And it seemed like it was 45 minutes, and it was like 2 hours and 10. I had to cut it off. It was like 2 hours and 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, we hadn't quite made it to where we were figuring out what we were doing and how to stop.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really have ever a time limit, and we just kept going and going.
Yeah.
And going.
Jason, so what's some of your bloopers besides me and my freezing? I know you're going to say something about that.
Well, the freezing is always the fun part, man. Once we used to get the guests on, and the funny thing is, every time you went to do the intro, and you froze, we would always tell the guests, "Hey, it's gonna be about 10 seconds, maybe 15." And then he'll come on, and we'll just get to acting crazy.
I mean, what was it? Was it Dunaway that was like no, and then all of a sudden it was like oh.
Yeah. So we be on there singing. Hey,
see, I don't ever catch what y'all are doing. Yeah, because I can't hear it.
You always just look.
Yeah.
And we're talking away.
Yeah. I can't hear what y'all are actually doing. So
and some of the blues on my own self, when I used to just try to do it from my phone. I just try, and then you be like, "Hey, huh? What you say? What you say?"
Yeah.
Somebody call.
Those are some bloopers when you try to do it from your phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll be doing this. Y'all gonna see it right now. I'll be doing this. still here. I'll be doing this. I just did something, but then I'll be on there doing this. I'll be in there typing in between. Yes, you be like, well, Jason said such and such, such and such, such and such.
Hey, Jason can't get back in. Hey, Brad, you got to let Jason back in. He's somehow he got disconnected. You got to let him back in. You got to get him back in.
It was one time you was calling somebody and talking to somebody. Something happened, and you was on the phone trying to get them back in. I forgot what episode that was.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was.
Man, but yeah, man, all the things have worked out, and now look at us now. It's I can come on. Man, we can come on like this now. I mean, software. Hey, technology is amazing. Technology is amazing.
That's true. All of that stuff is true. We've had some fun. We've had some definite bloopers.
This is the funniest thing that I tell people. I have never met you guys before until we started getting on air. And the chemistry, it seems like we've been knowing each other for years.
That's true. Because I'd never met John before either. until we started being on the air. Really,
I think I had some interactions with John on Twitter.
Yeah, with the other John.
And then and then he brought me in, and then after that it was because I thought I was just coming in for like one or two shows or whatever. And they're like, no, you just keep coming on. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So man, it's
all right, John Roberts, I'm going to ask you this one first.
All
what
right.
is your favorite debates that we've had? What are some of your favorite debates?
All right, so one of the ones was with Mason, and wasn't it best quarterback at this point? We were
at the point in the season, we
were talking about quarterbacks at that time, and that one was pretty funny just because I could keep poking at you and causing you to get just even more mad or frustrated at the whole thing. And I was.
That's because the thing went for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean it was a lot like what we were just doing, and all I was doing was like, "Hey, poke."
So, and it wasn't even me. They kept going at it, and Hammonds left.
Yeah, Hammonds left in the middle of it.
And Mason and John didn't even realize that Hammonds had left.
Yeah. And
they just kept on. And I, at the time, didn't want to interrupt the show and be like, because we were live, and I didn't want to say, well, hey, guys, Hammonds has left, and there's no reason for us to sit here and debate that.
Keep going.
So I let them go and go and go and go, and it went on and on and on, and they just kept going back and forth with each other. And I finally, it was like 30 minutes or something, and I was like, guys, do y'all realize that Hammonds left like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, we just kept wanting to keep going. That's all. There was another one, and I'm trying to think. There was another one. It was either Heisman. Yeah, no, it wasn't Heisman. No, there was another one where we were talking about whether something was a targeting or not, and I think there were some debates on targeting and whether something was targeting or wasn't targeting, and that was pretty funny. And I'm trying to think of some other ones that we had really had. I mean, the other discussions, really were just more, questions that were just having fun versus like an actual true on debate. I think there was a few times where we had something late in the football season. Usually it was in football season when we had these really drawn out debates. So
yeah, it was more during football season than basketball, really. when we
talking
had
about whether
more
a team
debates.
should get in the college football playoff. Talking about Heisman
I was
Trophy.
pretty
Talking about
I will say I was pretty adamant that Alabama was way too high towards the end of the season that they shouldn't be in. And they didn't get in, but they were damn close.
They were.
And I don't think that they should have been, because they had lost to Tennessee and they had the same amount of losses as Tennessee. And in my opinion, I thought Tennessee actually should have been there and not Alabama. But it's Alabama.
But Tennessee's losses were worse than Alabama's losses. Tennessee had that loss to South Carolina.
But Tennessee beat Alabama.
Well, my point is that, like, whether you believe either one, or like whether you believe Alabama should have gotten in or shouldn't have gotten in is one thing. But if you started debating Tennessee in over Alabama, Tennessee in and Alabama not in, Tennessee, but you would have to go Tennessee against another team, not against Alabama. You'd have to do it against another team, because you do it against Alabama, and yes, the head-to-head, you're right, but Bama's losses were not the same. Tennessee's losses were worse than Bama's.
Well, I mean, they got smoked by South Carolina. Other than that,
which, if you wanted to have a debate, all debates, you could debate Tennessee all you wanted until they got smoked by South Carolina.
I mean, and they got smoked by South Carolina. It wasn't even close.
At that point, it was like, nope, they're not in. Out.
Yeah.
So
it worked out. I mean, but we did have a few debates about who gets in and who doesn't towards the end of the season there in football. Basketball with 68 teams getting in, there's a small debate for 2 or 3 teams, usually something like that. It's really not that big of a deal if 2 or 3 teams. I mean, last year, not this time, but Texas A&M being left out kind of felt like a raw deal. I felt like, last season. This season, there's nobody that you could really sit and scream at and be like, they should have never been left out.
No, not this year. Not this year. I think, man, everybody got in and deserved to be in, man. Hey, watch this. I know Conference USA might have felt a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there's not 1 or 2 teams that,
That was the only conference that showed up in all semifinals.
Yep.
Of all 3 tournaments. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's
absolutely
that's an odd stat to be very proud about.
That's an odd stat to be very proud of.
Well, the biggest stat from that is that
are going to go to the
exactly the biggest stat to me is that those 3 teams are moving on to the AAC, so they won't even be part of the Conference USA. In about 3 months, July 1st, they won't even have Conference USA.
Right.
Man, that's a tough pill to swallow. This thing, you could have had 3 championships. You could have arguably had 3. I think they would have gave UConn a little.
They did get 2.
Yeah,
they got the CBI and the NIT.
That's what I'm saying. If they would have had Florida Atlantic, they were a shot away from it. They were rebounds away from making it to the national championship game.
Yeah, I mean, didn't even have to rebound it; just swat it down the court, out of bounds. Yeah, anything. Yeah.
So,
it would have changed the game.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, talking about debates, those are some of the ones over the college football 4 teams. Those were pretty fun. I kind of had a feeling you would bring up the one. I think it was over Washington's quarterback, Penix, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that debate with Mason? It was over.
That was early on. Yes, it was
over Michael Penix, wasn't it?
Penix and who was a part of this one? because
it was Bo. It was
because it was early in the year. Yeah, Bo was a part of that one. Yeah, it was Penix and Bo, and I thought there was somebody else that was thrown in there. Was it just those two?
I think it was those two.
I just kept going. This is the year, the whole time.
yeah. It was them two, but Penix was part of it too. I think.
Yeah, he was in it. He was in on it early on because it was within the first 3 or 4 games of the year, and he was and he was in that conversation. And then Washington faded for a long time, and he was kind of out of the conversation, or at least out of the limelight. And then Washington had a couple of strong wins, kind of late year, and he came back in.
They wound up being
so he came back
10 or 12. Like that in the rankings.
He came back into the conversation late in the year, but was there at the beginning, faded, and then came back.
Right.
So, yeah. Yep.
All right. So these two might go hand in hand, but Jason, what's your favorite guest that we've had on? Some of your favorite guests. It don't have to be one.
It's gonna be like,
man, look, it's gonna go hand in hand, man. Hey, Peter Burns, he was one of the favorite guys because he actually,
he was down to earth and seemed like a regular guy when he was on with us.
I mean, they all are. Everybody is. Once you get past the facade.
He was lifting up his shirt, showing us his pool, and you know what I mean? Yeah. He just seemed like a regular guy.
Like I say, everybody who we really had on pretty much was a good guest. You think about it. You hadn't probably had, and it was sometimes in which I wasn't here that I know you guys still had shows that you never probably had a bad guest. You know what I'm saying?
No, we haven't had any bad guests at all. No,
and I would say it right now on the 100th episode. I would definitely say it, but we really haven't had any bad guests, man. I've actually enjoyed every guest. Like every time somebody's been on, I've learned something. Like I said, from mock drafts to bracketology, breaking it down.
Get the Gonzaga guy.
Even had the Gonzaga, even had the Maryland guy.
Had a Maryland guy.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So hey, it's one of those things that, man.
That was JBR bracketology, the Maryland guy.
Yeah, that's right.
But coach at Auburn, man, head baseball coach at Auburn, man, he was by far one of my best because he actually stuck around.
Yes.
Then he got cut off
every opportunity to leave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 2 or 3 opportunities, actually.
Yes.
See, that's what it was. That's what it was when you was on the phone because he cut off, and then you got cut off, and then we had to kill the show, and then we had to get back on.
Then we had to get everybody back in. Yeah. That was a mess. Absolute mess.
That's right.
Yeah, so man.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the bloopers and stuff.
Yeah. So everything.
So I'll tell you some of my favorite guests, and I thought I had that clicked, but I don't see it up there. But anyway, some of my favorite guests. I'll start. Peter Burns is one of my favorite guests. He was just so easy to talk to, and just like talking to one of the guys and stuff. He just was the entire time. He was pretty fun to talk to. I enjoyed Chris Marlar's show. I thought that was a pretty fun show to do with Marlar. Your guy, Ron Slay, that was an absolute blast. I love talking to Ron Slay. He is, again, just like one of the guys. Like he doesn't, even though, he's big time compared to me and everything else, he didn't portray that at all. It was kind of like we could just sit in a bar and just shoot the shit, really, honestly.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that was fun with Ron Slay. I'd like to do that again sometime. Actually, that was a fun episode. And then, early on, I talked with a Tennessee writer. His name was John Dunn, and him and I have kind of talked back and forth. And he's been pretty cool and a friend. Coleman Scott has been pretty cool and a friend that's on Talking Kentucky.
That's right. That one was early.
Back and forth, and that was early on as well. We're just doing the radio stuff. The NFL Outdated guy, I don't remember if Jason was on with that one, but he was the Iowa guy that we did the Iowa and Kentucky Music City one with. That was pretty fun. Yeah. He was just a good guy. He was just a good guy, knowledgeable and stuff like that. So we've had a bunch of people on our show. John, what's some of your favorite guests? Probably hit most of them.
You're hitting every one of them right now. And then again, I'm going to add to it Marler and Ryan Nanny, because those were some fun ones. That we had.
Travis from
Travis,
Bar Banter.
doing the bar banter. That one was great too, because we actually got to go on his show.
Yeah, and we done one on his show.
Do an episode. We went and did an episode on his show. Travis was fun because that one was right before. Was it right before the national championship? It was early.
Yes.
It was kind of right around the national championship.
Yes, right? It was the college football national championship. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that
it was right before it, I think.
Or was it Super Bowl that we did it? Was it close to the Super Bowl, or was it close to
the I think Ryan Nanny was Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah.
I can't remember either, but I'm thinking that Ryan Nanny was the Super Bowl. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it's been a whirlwind having all of them, getting all of them and kind of getting to hang out and getting to know a few of them and still interact with a lot of them. So that's pretty cool. So, and then we're in talks with a few others and getting at least one back on the show. So I can't wait to keep going.
No doubt.
Right.
I got tickets in my pocket. I'm gonna make sure that I put this up for the 100th episode.
100th episode.
Because he's got that money.
Yeah. So you're talking about kind of what's ahead. I have this up there. I think we have it scheduled, and I think it's right with Landrum.
Yeah, I was trying to confirm with him earlier today just to make 100% sure, and I didn't have any response. So I just wanted to make sure that we were 100% going, because.
But we are let's put it this way: we're in the works, and we will get Landrum at some point. We are pretty confident in that. John knows him pretty well, so
the win is just the different story. But we will get him, so that's not
right.
That's not the issue
but
right now.
Some of the stuff that's ahead,
scheduling.
So we're working on getting Landrum Roberts from Jocks 94.5. He is also on two shows on Jocks 94.5, the Morning Jocks and Three Man Front.
Right.
He does Three Man Front with Pat Smith,
who's one of the creators of the Paul Feinbaum
show.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and that's who he works with. So, I mean, that's a big deal. We've had Landrum on before. That's one of the bloopers I was talking about. There was a mess, and we lost his audio because it was a Podbean issue. It wasn't me. It wasn't my recording or nothing like that. So I had to go through a tech, and it took me about a week. And the Podbean tech actually recovered it because it was their issue. And so we called it the Lost Landon Roberts episode.
It was because that was we aired it a week late, and it was the Wednesday before the Bama game, so it's Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving was when we recorded it, and it got released like maybe like a week and a half. It was like 10 days later.
Yeah, it was like 7 or 10 days later,
like a Friday or Thursday following Thanksgiving. So everything we're talking about is leading into the Bama game, leading into all the other games that were being played that weekend, but you didn't hear it until after all those games had been played.
5 days after.
So you could listen to it and just figure out like who's calling what game, because I think this is the one where I actually made the bold prediction and said that I think A&M would beat LSU, and Landrum just goes, "Stop it, stop it."
Yeah.
And then they did, and I was like, but I mean, like,
exactly.
we
No,
went
I
into
think
detail
it was
about
John. I think it was the Texas A&M beating LSU.
That's what I'm saying. A&M beating LSU. And
I thought you said UAB.
Yeah, this is going to be no. It was A&M, and that was one where I mean, A&M was just.
Yeah, and Landrum. John was in this big thing, and Landrum just leaned into the mic and said, "Stop it."
Stop it. Stop it.
And then I'll be damned if A&M didn't beat them.
I told you. It was one of those games where I just had a gut feeling. And again, one of the things I was thinking about, and you know my love for chaos, is like this is where chaos will show up, because this is going to knock LSU down, because what I was hoping for was LSU to be this 2 or 3 loss SEC champion, and then see what happens. Let's see how they fare. Do they get into the playoff? Because they're the SEC champion, but they've got 2 or 3 losses. They would have lost to, a bunch of different teams, and then the A&M loss would have been the bad loss.
Then they wound up losing the next week too, though. They did. They closed out the season with 3 straight losses, counting the championship, SEC championship.
Right, but who was it? I thought they ended with A&M, and then the third loss.
Maybe they lost before that.
The third loss was
well, they wound up with
the
4,
Georgia
right?
Game in the championship, with the championship game. Yeah, so they lost to Florida State at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Right. That was
the first game.
Right. They lost to A&M at the end of the year, and then to Georgia. And then they lost. It was either like a South Carolina or Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's their 4 losses.
Yeah.
So.
But before that A&M game, they only had 2, and they had a chance to be there.
And I just wanted to see what
just
would
laid
happen.
An egg.
I just wanted to see what would happen if they had 3 losses.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that opens the door, if they get 2 losses, right? So that was opening the door for starting to open the door for Alabama. Now, Alabama had 2 losses, one being to them. So they were already, they needed to lose one more game or whatever. But by that time, it was already decided that they were making the championship game. So That's why I also thought that it would be funny that it would be funny that they went ahead and lost that game, because they were already making the championship game. Yeah. So now they go ahead and lose, and all the Alabama fans are, we still can't get in, And then And then
happened
again,
Yeah.
and then again, you know,
And that happened.
the fact that like they were a 3-loss team, if they could somehow, some way have beaten Georgia, which would have been hilarious.
Yeah,
And
they
then
would
to
have been.
see what the then see what the committee did. Do you allow a 3-loss team into the college football playoff? They're the SEC champion.
Right.
Do they get in? And that was the big, you know, deciding. You know, one of the things that I thought
12
would be huge
team,
chaos,
I'm going to say
huge
yes.
chaos.
4 team,
Yes.
I'm saying no.
Well, and again, we will never know because of the fact
I
that
know,
they,
but I'm just
that they
saying.
didn't win. But that was just something that I just thought would be hilarious. And but also at the same time, you know, if Georgia gets beat and all these other teams, you know, there are certain teams that needed to get beat, you know, right there at the end of the year. That what if Alabama got into the playoff? Because again, you know, living here in Alabama, you know, we hear it all the time. Whether, you know, me being an Auburn fan or not doesn't really meet, you know, like I'm not bringing in my own personal biases, but I'm just sitting there. I think it would be funny to raise the hopes up of all the Alabama fans and then crush them when they don't get in or something like that. And I just thought it was hilarious. And I was like, oh, we got to build it up. We got to build it up. What's the most chaotic scenario? Like, okay, if this team won, what does that mean? Okay, what if this team won? What does that mean? Well, if this team loses, what does that mean? So if we had all these different teams that were winning or losing, you know, and my first real thought about all these chaos theories was back in 2013 when Auburn probably wasn't going to make the championship game until Michigan State beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And then Auburn gets entered into the conversation. And that's what was kind of, you know, you start drawing up all these, you know, theories in your
Scenarios.
head. Yeah, all these scenarios. And that was one that I had. It was like, oh, man, we need this team to win. Or otherwise, you know, you're leaving it up to the voters. You know, you're leaving it up to the committee to decide whether we get in or not, you know. So,
all right, so before we get cut off the air on WSBN TV, I do want to say Seattle Seahawks NFL Draft Insider is going to be with us on Sunday. I do think we're going to be an hour late because I'm going to be getting back from that Prep Red Zone event. So I think we're going to come on at 4 Central and 5 Eastern.
That's this
on
upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, on the 16th.